Hi, Gary Velasco, Fighting Colors. Nose art extraordinaire, I suppose, right? So people say. Anyway, what I do is nose art on aircraft as well as replica panels, and we're expanding to doing jackets and furniture and that kind of thing. So, based out of Virginia, Central Virginia, and been doing this for over 25 years now, so there's a huge body of work that I've done regarding nose art, from painting warbird, dozens of actual warbirds, and of course the replica panels, custom things, jackets, and that sort of thing. So, how I got started, huh? Well, there's a long version and a short version. So let's say the short version first, and the short version answer is I hated my day job. So I was painting, had a painting contracting business, and eventually graduated to murals and did that a few times, and got into faux finishes and specialty finishes, and got tired of that, and I was like, I need to get back into something aviation related. And I started going back to air shows again, and I just saw people gravitated taking pictures towards the noses of airplanes. So I thought, what is this all about? So to me, I didn't know what the thing about nose art was. I was still sort of a novice and going to air shows, and this is in my late 20s, and I still had a musical career, hence the long hair still, so I can't let that go. At least I have the hair, right? So anyway, getting back to the story, I went going to air shows, and of course all the magazines, Air Classics, Wings, and all the aviation type magazines, there were plenty back in the 80s and 90s, had featured nose art in a lot of their cover shots and their feature shots, and I said, what is this all about? And is anybody doing a product like this commercially? So looked in the back, looked at all the ads, and didn't seem to find anything or anybody that was doing it at the time. So I said, that was my aha moment. Light bulb went off. I said, I'm going to do, some panels, some basic stuff, and see how it's going to be received, right? So you throw it out there. This was before the .com phenomenon came into play. And so I started putting out a few pieces, advertising in black and white in some of the magazines, then went to color, mailing in checks and this and that, and it came in little by little. One thing led to another, started the business, and then, wanted to wean off, the painting, contracting, the murals thing, and just go full time. But it was a little slow going, and I realized, how do I speed this up? So I looked to see, I need to get into dealers, so dealers can carry it because they advertise, and, that would take a lot of the burden of advertising off of me. So I said, who's the biggest dealer that carries gifts, aviation gifts and collectibles? And lo and behold, it was Sporties, the Wright brothers. So, because I kept calling all the mom and pop, stores, and, people that carried that, and they really didn't have any interest in it. Like, what do we do with this? It's too much money, blah, blah, blah. So I said, okay, I'm going to start at the top. I'm going to go with Sporties, and it took 2 years to convince them. They said, okay, finally, we're going to give you a half page, give us the best 6 panels, which we did. As soon as I did that, they were doing really great, and then all the mom and pop stores ended up calling me back, and they said, we want the product now. And then that's where all the dealership came. Everybody started carrying it. From there, it went to museums, and then the business grew. I got fightingcolors.com when that came in the mid-90s, I believe. And then from then, one warbird led to another, and after another, and after another. And 25 years later, here I am. So that's a good question. Well, everybody has a different technique. Artists have different ways to do it. There's no right and wrong way to do things. So my technique developed in a certain way. I do have some, kind of trade secrets that I've developed, but basically what I do is I take a design, once it's sketched out, for a customer, whether it be a warbird or replica panels, is I digitize it. I take my sketch, or I take the elements of art, and I put them together digitally on the computer. I'll scale it up. I'll start playing with fonts. Finally, to the final design, I get approval by whoever is commissioned me to do it, and then I print out a positive print, where I could, to scale, and then I could take that print and then start cutting out what I need to do and use it as a template. And a reference as well too. And I'll print out just a normal size, I guess large size, just I could use as a reference, pretty much like I do with with everything else, so I have something to refer to, so I can go back and to see how accurate I am and stay true to the original design. So once the template is up on the airplane or on the panel in the smaller scale, I just line it, I remove it, and then it looks like almost like a paint by numbers. So the template serves as I could do it over and over and over again. So it takes a lot of the guesswork out. And then just like paint by numbers, I fill in everything. And yeah, it sounds very easy, paint by numbers, but it still takes a lot to put everything into it. And we use a special type of paint. It's an oil-based paint that's been around for over 100 years. It's an oil-based enamel, and it's meant to be used as an exterior type of paint for the sign painting industry. And it's what I use primarily for warbirds. Now it could be clear coated on top of that if they want to preserve that, for a longer life. But that's basically in a nutshell how I do the warbirds and the panels. It's the same technique done over and over and over again. Okay, so this particular panel is a showpiece panel that we've done here and finished at Oshkosh 22. It was for sale and somebody bought it, luckily for them. This is a full-size P-47 replica of the cowl panel. So this is this particular piece right here in exact full size. So we took measurements of the real P-47 and then scaled it up and did what we need to do and simplified it so it could be done, in an affordable manner. And then we, again, as I said before, we made the template to size, did all the research, put everything together, lined everything out, and then started the paint by numbers kind of thing, background to foreground, which is the best way for me to work. Not everybody works that way, but for me, that's how it works. So some lucky person's picking this up tomorrow, and of course we could do any of these over and over and over again. So basically what we started out with was the smaller pieces, which we've already blueprinted, catted, and we could make any one of these over and over and over again. So this way, the hand fabrications, it eliminates all that. So we take the metal and we assemble them and rivet them together and then base coat them and paint them if necessary. If it was natural aluminum, it stayed a certain way. But and there's an unlimited of nose art that could be done over and over and over again. So this way we could be consistent in what it is that we do. So when dealers carry the products, we can do them over and over and over again. Okay, so in conclusion, I think you've seen a little brief history of what we're doing, and of course online where to find us, we have a website called fightingcolors.com. We have a large social media presence, especially on Facebook, and that could be found on Fighting Colors Collection, as well as Gary Velasco, and we have two other smaller satellite sites pertaining to nose art, but they're separate projects, and there you could find all kinds of things, our panels, in progress things. We have a podcast as well called Wingnut and Rockhead, which goes into detail on the behind the scenes on how we do things, shop tours. We bring in guests. Mo, we're going to have you some point come in and we'll talk about what you do here, because you're a big staple and a lot of people know who you are. So we'll return the favor once again. And I promise you we'll have a flat Mo there with you, and we'll promote you as best as we could. And there, again, with Wingnut and Rockhead and FightingColors.com, you'll find other things as well. We do our own line of A2 jackets. We have our own shrag, and we're expanding. We're doing furniture now and all kinds of crazy things. So see you there.